What is the fair market value for XRP? How do we solve that? How do we get there? Well, Molly Elmore and her team put this to the test about a year ago. And this thread has been popping up in my newsfeed. So more and more people are talking about it. I wanted to revisit all the things her and her team have put into these model. And let's go ahead and talk about this. The average median price for these were between like $12,822 and $61,231. This also ranged from like $9.81 all the way to $513,000 per token. So you can see that there's a lot of things happening here. I want to go ahead and go through this step by step. I will also include the white paper down below in the description. If you want to take a look at this or follow along as I'm going through this, let's go ahead and get into it. So drum roll, please. In December of 2020, the SEC filed a lawsuit against Ripple that led to a sell-off of XRP and subsequent decrease in the market price. In the months that followed, Jimmy Valley or Valhill Capital noticed unusual details in the case that led him to wonder what's really going on. In quarter 3 of 2021, Jimmy and the team at Valhill Capital decided to send a proposal to the U.S. Central Bank, also known as the Fed, offering to sell their XRP, that and others who wanted to participate, at a subsequential higher price than available on exchanges. The point was to bring attention to the appearance of regulatory capture and the discussion around the implications. Logical questions arose here, right? Because people were like, oh, is the government going to buy my XRP back for $10,000, right? Remember people talking about this? Well, this is kind of what they were exploring here. All right. It says, if the SEC had harmed retail holders through their lawsuit, how could one calculate the financial damages, right? Because think about this. If Ripple was never sued in the first place, where would Ripple and maybe the XRP token be today? Would it still be at 52 cents, or would we be at $5 or $50 or $500, right? Because the adoption was slowed due to what the SEC did. And there's all kinds of shady things behind the lawsuit, right? And Ethereum Gate, we're not going to debate that here, but there was some shadiness that had happened. So this is when the concept of fair market value entered the discussion and how it differs from market value. Shortly after, Value Capital invited a larger group of people to come together, the Confidential Committee. I was not invited. I'm just kidding. The goal was to unite and create a plan to address the collusion and harm caused by the SEC. In the fall of 2022, the Confidential Committee formed a smaller valuation committee of people experienced in the quantitative financial valuations. 6 different valuation models were built over the span of several months. The valuation committee made the decision to share our findings along the way. This way, not all models were completed at the same time. So these are some different models that they had, right? So you have the global transaction volume, you have the global money supply, transaction daily volume, projected economy growth rate, XRP circulating supply, XRPL transactions per second, discount rate, and then years until steady state. Oddly, the decision brought substantial criticism. We were learning and publishing what we were learning on Twitter and YouTube, and as we went along. Some critics felt that we should have waited until we were done. Fair enough. Much to our surprise, the results of the first set of models led new people to step up and contribute additional models. This confirmed we made the right decision, contrasting the transparency of our process to build in public to the secretive back smoky rooms process being undertaken by our public servants at the SEC. The effort was expanding. The paper we have released today would have been quite different than if we had waited to share what we had learned. One misrepresentation around the effort was that the models are price forecasts designed to mislead people to give retail holders a dose of hopium. However, among the people who took the time to really understand the output of the models, the opposite conclusion became evident. The lawsuit cost a lot of people a lot of money. The 6 models, which cover a range of specific scenarios, also show that the value of XRP would have been substantially higher than it is now because of the lawsuit, right? And it talks about different methodology. So let's take a look at this. Store of value. We have transaction speed, Big Bang, discount rate, virtuous cycle, 2030 valuation, all the money, and then 10% adoption by 2030. In the timeline of events, the XRPL would have been unencumbered by the stigma and confusion around the classification of XRP. The range of stimulated output values from the 6 models is very wide. 2 dominant and connected variables have powerful influential to the price. We refer to those variables as transaction value and store of value. Both are addressed in great detail throughout the paper, as is the concept of virtuous cycle, the dynamic relationship between those 2 variables, which is right here. So the virtuous cycle, flywheel. As XRP adoption increases for a payment or digital asset transactions, XRP price increases. Then you also have price increase drives up demand to store value, reducing available supply for transactions. And then you have new use cases emerge, Jevons paradox, driving vertical and horizontal adoption and growth for XRP. And then you have competing forces and increasing adoption in the store of value lead to the demand of exponential price increase for XRP. To our knowledge, the only other analysis of the scope has been done in the digital asset space. A diverse team with a wide variety of professional backgrounds came together as volunteers to build a series of quantitative models to understand the value drivers of digital currency. And then here is the XRP valuation model, right? It did vary from $9.81 all the way to this insane price of $513,000 per XRP, where you would have to have quadrillions of dollars on the XRP ledger to reach a price like that, or a very low supply with a lot of money. The initial response to the model output was remarkable. The majority of people were appreciative and commended our efforts, while a small minority reacted quite viciously. The critics made false assumptions and drew incorrect conclusions about our motives. This was quite surprising considering the transparency throughout the process, again, contrasted the SEC's secretive, deliberative process. Multiple podcast interviews were held and addressed the backstory and the goals of the project. Regardless of what various models stimulate in terms of potential value, one fact remains unchanged. The years that the XRP ledger has been under dark cloud of the lawsuit cannot be recovered. Humans are resilient and can overcome setbacks, but nearly 3 years of lost innovation on the XRP ledger are gone. That is absolutely true. After months of analysis, discussed, and internal review, the confidential committee is pleased to release a paper titled A Comprehensive Approach to Determining Fair Market Value of XRP. Please read and share wide to help the industry learn more about the value and the new asset class and play a big role in the upcoming financial system. If anyone needs an issue with the link. So I will include all the links below, but it's an insane story of how all of this stuff came together, right? And, you know, I think it's worth a look and taking your time to go through this. Don't rush through it. See, this is all the people who supported this and gave their time and energy to build this thing. And here are the different contents, the different, methodology, fair market value, vicious cycle. It goes through all of it. Okay. And so you can just slowly but surely, and I actually did videos on all these cycles. You can actually go back in the history and take a look at this, but there's so many incredible pieces of information here. It's hard to go through in a 10-minute video, these different models, but it does speak to the question, when adoption of XRP happens on a global scale, right? How much money and value will Ripple capture, right? And all of the other things that are built out on the XRP ledger, right? How much XRP is going to be needed to fulfill all of that usage, right? And will there be enough XRP? And if there isn't, how much value will XRP actually be worth once all this happens? So as you can see, right, this is the $513,000 calculation here. This is, if $100 quadrillion discounted value estimate, 100 billion, right? This is if $100 quadrillion are put on the XRP ledger, I think it's a lot of money, right? I don't even think we have that much money, but over time there could be. So I will leave this down in the comments, leave you guys to take a look at this, but I wanted to just go through what was going on, why this is starting to pop up again, and why, people that maybe weren't around a year ago or even now should take some time and go through this to better understand what the true value of XRP could be, and maybe what value have we lost over the past 3 years dealing with the SEC's bullshit, and how much longer will and can this continue. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Aloha. Bye.